Hello and welcome to another edition of Code Remix Weekly. I'm Tim and he's Sam or something like that. How you doing, Tim?
Doing well, doing well. And my patience is being tested just off screen where I'm installing a new
By me
Mac.
stealing your name right now? Was that the straw that broke the camel's back?
No. It's, I'm installing a Mac, and you find yourself, if you don't have experience with it, you find yourself googling things that who would ever need to like select something in a terminal, and then a dictionary pops up, and you think, this is gonna take a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been a primary Mac user, although I do have one on my desk right now from one of our customers. Although when I worked at Gradle, I had a Mac for a while. After many years of being only Windows, since before that I'd worked at Microsoft, so I was like, well, you're obviously going to use
Hmm.
Windows working at Microsoft, and I was mostly surprised by how not different it was. Like I was like,
Ah,
oh, a lot of convergent evolution has happened. These are very similar. Kevin confirms the
yeah.
dictionary's annoying even to longtime Mac users.
It's
You'll have to tell Tim how to turn it off because that's probably the
Yeah,
next thing you'd have
I'm
to
gonna look
Google.
for that option because that's just I don't know. It was just one of many small annoyances. The other is that the keyboard that I have for some reason isn't QWERTY, but it's AZERTY, so I can't
Oh,
find anything. I've already locked myself out of my iCloud forever because the type
too many
password.
wrong passwords.
So yeah, persevering, but
These days, I'm with you. And my primary daily driver computer being Ubuntu, which also barely any adjustment from using Mac or Windows, substantially easy. Oh yeah, your Kyle recognizes your original remix shirt. I think Kyle, you designed that shirt, if I remember correctly, right? Or at least parts of it. Now the
it's
just before
it's
the
one of
show,
yeah one of the ways you can show seniority in the company, where you can get the oldest T-shirt that you
exactly,
have, and then
exactly. The Right before we went live, we sat down and Tim and I and our guests were all wearing the exact same modern blue shirt, and we're like, "This looks a little bit too much like the Smurfs. This looks a little bit too much like a cult, maybe a Smurf-based cult. We don't know if that's the image we want to present to the world. Let's switch up our shirts just a little bit."
yeah,
And so,
yeah.
Tim
So
went to the Code Remix shirt to pull rank as he is now now demonstrated.
yeah, so good to have that one ready, and I have a couple other options still. So yeah.
Yeah. So good. So what's our news for the week, Tim?
We have a couple updates. So one that we're quite pleased with is that we have a new way of adding skills to your cloud environment using the CLI that we have at Moderne. And I'll share the link in the comments right now. So if you're interested in this, go to the Moderne blog, and you can read all about how we've been able to speed up the way that we develop recipes, the way that we validate them and run them at scale, and then from there give you proven recipes to do your migrations in this way. So that's been a great fun for the team to work with. Now, also new is that we have some new trainings coming up. Let me just click this one. We have the fundamentals of recipe authoring coming up on the 10th of February, so in 2 weeks, on or about. And then you can just sign up as always and get the free training how to develop recipes yourself. And if you're curious how we're using AI to write these recipes, using those new class skills and everything, then we have a dedicated session on that the week after. So that would be February 19th. So be sure to register for that one, and then hope to see you there. And we can take you along in the things we've learned that work quite well for us here at Moderne. So then beyond that, of course, we're also have Code Remix coming up again in May, May 11th through 13th. And we have some first, what do you call it? The tickets registrations for the early birds are open. So if you want to save considerably in joining us in Miami, then definitely do that as well. Then beyond that, we did a smallish open rewrite patch release. There were only 49 patches that made it in. So folks that know us know that we do a dedicated longer release every 2 weeks. but I'll be out in Stockholm by then. So we did a smaller one just yesterday. So with a lot of fixes, there is a new Docker parser that I've been teasing on the show once in a while.
All
That's,
right.
yeah, that's nice to have, and just a lot of small fixes, improvements all across the board, and just yeah, pleased to see that will land. So if you're curious, check it out already. Of course, we'll be following up with a larger release train based off of this, but it's all available already for the folks there. And like I said, I'll be in Stockholm next week, which I'm really looking forward to. Not least because I get to give a workshop twice. So I had signed up to do it once in the morning, and then too many people were interested, and now we get to do it again in the afternoon, just to make sure that we can be as accommodating as we can to get folks onto better testing practices. So, and then after that will be there's a booth for Moderne as well for the folks that want to hear what you can do with Moderne. And then I'll be having 2 days off, so that's what I'm looking forward to most. I think. So that's it in terms of updates for the coming weeks. And then with that, I think we can bring our special guest on for today. Welcome back, Jente.
Hello. Excited to be here.
Glad to have you. I think is this your second or your third Code Remix appearance?
Second time. Last time I was a fresh junior open rewrite enthusiast.
Yeah.
I came here, I think, to talk about how my experience was with open rewrites, the beginning of open rewrite. I think it's
you're talking about the learning curve, sharing tips and observations of other people new to the framework.
Yes,
Do you have any updates to give since then? Do you remember saying anything that was just horribly wrong and you deeply regret it and want to set the record straight, or an additional learning?
I still love the printer. Because it helps me a lot, or it helped me a lot. So I still stand by my statement of a year and a half, 2 years ago. If you're looking for your way around the Java LSD elements, definitely check out the tree visiting printer there.
When in doubt, print it out.
Yeah.
And today you've come to us to talk to a topic that is related to how the LST is printed out to text. Here to talk to us about new formatting options that you have added. Longtime Open Rewrite users might recognize that some of our formatting settings that are available for the AutoFormat recipe to respond to look pretty similar to what you might see in your IntelliJ formatting settings, except a smallish subset. Not all of the options were in there. And Jente, you've had a hand in filling in a few more of those options in the formatter, isn't that right?
Yeah, you could say that. So I think we had a very good coverage of the spacing options already. IntelliJ has these settings distributed like spaces. You have wrapping embraces, you have imports, you have the indentation, all in different settings. I think in a lot of them we already had quite good support, but for wrapping embraces there was like one key feature missing, being the one that counts the length of your code and deciding based upon the length of the code, like, should I wrap to the next line, yes or no. So we have a PR open, we had a PR that added all this to the Open Rewrite code base, and on top of that I already added a bunch of other spaces support that was like missing or incorrect, small improvements to the spaces visitor. So there's a bunch of added features over there. I'm excited to give you guys a tour.
I would love to have a tour of the new features. Do you have are you able to demo any of these in the SAS showing changes? Because we also added some parameters to some of the formatting recipes, right? So you could just stick a YAML style block in there and have it reformat your code to something different.
Yes, exactly. I do
Excellent.
have something to share on these as. Let's
Nice.
hop onto that. Use. So I've created a small organization for repositories, and let me just hop on to running the first recipe. So I have everyone knows the builder quite well by now, I think. So if we take a look at this, it's a very easy create new. So it's a very easy recipe. It's just going to call format Java code. If I run this recipe, it won't take long until the first results will appear. Two smaller results over here, but the diff is quite big on these. If we go to the next one, you will see, for example, what's the change here? Like after this diamond, there was a space missing.
Yeah.
After this diamond, there's a space missing. So basically, what the recipe does is it will add spaces in this case where they are missing. Maybe I'll just go to the activity, go to this one, and go to the bigger changes over here.
Can you zoom in your browser just a little bit?
Sure. If it wants to. Tim was bashing on Mac. I'm on a Mac, so.
I don't know if he's bashing. He's just confused. Yes, that's very legible. Thank you.
Okay.
He was bashing the dictionary specifically.
Yeah.
So if Tim misspells something, well, you know why. He hates dictionaries.
Open to wrong one. I want to start with this one, because otherwise people will think that my code formatting didn't work. So what you see here is where is
we had a question come in just now about that you can write recipes in TypeScript, and is there a plan for other programming languages? Yes, absolutely. JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, C# are all being worked on in varying degrees of completion. And as Tim mentioned, it's not exactly a programming language, but he did just merge in Docker file support. I'm not expecting anyone to be able to write recipes in Docker files exactly. Although if you mix in that Claude skill, maybe there's an argument for writing recipes in Docker. But yes, the language expansion continues. So yeah, you were saying Jente?
I think I found what I wanted to show. Like here we have this method. It has a throws block, and IntelliJ has this concept of continuation indentation compared to regular indentation. So normally the continuation would be 8 spaces, but it's configurable. This one has had 4 spaces, and we will now move it to 8 spaces. So this was already there. It's just us calling the AutoFormat recipe. And one of the things that we added is the way that you can now format your code and really decide how you want to be formatting your code. So this if block, for example, has a space before the parentheses. It has no space within the parentheses, and it has one after. And these are all options that you could normally choose in IntelliJ. If you would go to the IntelliJ settings, this one will, you have like before parenthesis for an if parenthesis, that's the default that there is a space over there. But imagine that you want to change this in a default. People would be like, you disable the checkbox and you run the formatter, but it's changed on your system. In a lot of organizations, you would then have to distribute this XML configuration that everyone needs to adhere to, or everyone needs to adopt, or and if one person doesn't do it and he formats the code, he checks in code, and then someone else formats it again, your pull requests are all the time basically talking about spacing issues. With
and where to place the curly brace and all that.
yeah,
We've also seen, in a kind of related way, that like if you're using Open Rewrite on a project, we do our best to auto detect what the appropriate style is, which is
yeah,
more or less based on going through the code base and counting up how many spaces or tabs are in an indentation and what have you. And so if the code in the project disagrees about what the style is, you could end up with confused style settings, right? And so you could end up with auto format being like, well, it looks like continuation indents are 24 spaces, and a regular indent is one tab or something crazy like that. Doesn't happen often, but it is possible. So keeping the style in your project consistent is one way to to avoid confusing tools like Open Rewrite.
yeah. So this auto detection, like you mentioned, it's exactly the same. The reason that we see an indentation happening over here of 2 instead of 4 spaces. So if this project has is configured to use 2 spaces, this auto detection and then the formatting that follows it will automatically make the entire code base use 2 spaces rather than 4. So let's go to the added features there. I had this recipe YAML. Oh, I have to. So what we added is basically a property style. I'm doing it through the builder because, as you can see, it's quite a big block over here. You can enter any style, and you have to use the class of the style that you want to change. So in this case, we want to override the spaces style because we want to be playing around with spaces. You also have a wrapping and braces style. You have an import style. You have multiple style classes in the Open Rewrite framework available. And one of these properties on a spaces style is this before parenthesis. So let me just take a screenshot that I took of the class of spaces style to make it more mappable. You have the spaces style, you have the before parenthesis, that's the property that we're changing here, and we have the if parenthesis. So taking a look again at those IntelliJ settings, you have the spaces style, you have before parenthesis, and you have the if parenthesis. So as part of this, as part of these changes, we've been adding a bunch of properties to already existing classes, plus the support to also, make the formatting follow these properties. So what I did is I made a recipe here that deliberately will make, in my opinion, an if statement not look like an if statement should look like, but let's just see what it does.
I know Sam is going to disagree with you there. Like he considers an if statement a function that you pass in a boolean and then a second optional block.
A function, yeah. A function invocation is a word followed by some parentheses with some arguments. Syntactically speaking, and we're talking about syntax here. So, why is an if statement different? If we put a space between if and the arguments, why don't we put one, in method arguments too?
After any method call, it does make you reconsider your language concepts and whether they make sense and how. If you want to, maybe we should have like an IntelliJ default and a SAM default out of the box.
This does look worse though. I can't help but admit that this looks worse.
I've never known you to type a space though after the if.
I think Sam's mainly struggling with the space within the if, maybe.
Yeah. The lack of space doesn't bother me as much as the presence of those spaces looks wrong. Like the if is being like, whoa, its predicate's like dangerous. I can't touch it directly. Got to have like oven mitts on.
So what happened here is that this style marker, this style class was used to format the code, but added on top of that is a new thing, is that we also attach this new style to all the code that it formatted. So if you use this style and then later some code in the same change recipe, decorative recipe, some code changes a method invocation or changes something, and it calls the AutoFormat functionality of the framework, it will automatically detect this style as a new, as the current style marker, basically. So styles get merged, the auto-detected style and then this added style of our AutoFormat run, they get merged and attached as a new marker to the LST element for future recipes to come.
Yeah. So if you wanted to reformat your code base and adopt the newest version of Spring in one unified recipe run, you could do that. That maybe is a lot. You would probably want to do formatting and Spring separately, but it is an important, if subtle note that Jente is emphasizing here. That whenever a recipe makes a change, to do the appropriate indentation with the appropriate number of spaces or what have you, it is looking to the styles that are attached as markers to the LST. And so because AutoFormat updates those attached markers for the rest of the recipe run, the other recipes can see those changes and not be accidentally reverting it. So it just makes AutoFormat compose nicely with other recipes.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
that AutoFormat option. Also, what I often find new recipe developers not to be too aware of. So what you would see them do is they'll use Java template, they'll insert a snippet, and they'll fiddle with the indentation within that snippet, not knowing that that is exactly what we have AutoFormat for to mimic the style you already had.
And indeed, Java template calls AutoFormat by default. So it's usually an indication that like the cursor that you pass into the template is how it figures out the indentation level. So if you're getting wrong indentation, it's probably out of a template or AutoFormat indication. That cursor is probably why.
So yeah, no, very neat to have a way to now finally set the amount of spaces I want after my if, and maybe enforce that on PRs. Well, you already run recipes.
I think that's a good idea, Tim.
It's just one less annoyance if you can automate this kind of change. So.
I look forward to the halcyon days when the code isn't stored as text but as an LST, and everyone just has their preferred style settings, and they just always see the code rendered in their preferred style settings. Then the only challenge is that you come to a screen share situation, and then you're shocked and appalled by what your coworkers have done. Like you put the curly brace there. What's wrong with you? What moral degeneracy has infected you that you would put the curly brace in a different place than me? So that might lead to some shocking conversations. But until then, it would be perfect. So while we have you here and talking about formatting, what is the correct place to put a curly brace into? Like in Java and most of the Open Rewrite code base, we're putting the curly brace in the same line. In a lot of other places, though, curly brace goes in the next line. Where do you think the curly brace should go?
I do want to come back in a year or so on the code remix, and I don't want to have anything to say like. I went wrong over there, so I'm not going to make any comments. At this moment, my style preference would be on the same line. I think without a space in front of it.
Same line, no space. All right. Well, we'll see if that's the sort of brave, very brave. We'll see if that's the sort of hot take that gets you hounded off the internet in a furor of angry comments. But it'd be great for engagement.
I prefer to have them like outlined to the right on the 300th column, just out of sight, and make it all.
Yeah, with the semicolons over there too. Who needs even needs to see the braces or the semicolons? Just move it far enough right that it's off the right edge of the screen. Can your style settings do that, Jente? Do we have a style setting for put all the semicolons, 400 columns to the right, so we can't even
Everything's
see them on an
possible.
ultra wide? Everything's possible. Good
Everything's
answer.
possible.
We might need some further adjustments on your PR, but other than that, we should be good.
Yeah. Well. So what else did I want to say? So now that you mentioned something very very specific, like where should the curly brace go? It's a quite a good question, because the curly brace can occur in many parent LSD elements. Like you have a block in a class, you have a block in a method declaration, you have a block in an if statement. The block class comes back in a lot of locations, basically. And locations is a very important word. And once I made or understood the importance of a location, I was able to drastically reduce the amount of code in the spaces visitor and in the wrapping and braces visitor. Because once you understand that every decision to put a space or no space is basic, it can be made on every location in the code. You can actually write a big switch case almost that just says like, hey, am I before my parenthesis of an if block? Am I in a method declaration arguments? Am I before a comma? Those are all locations. So maybe it's easiest if I just take an example over here with the, let's look at a method declaration. So we have this method declaration, and a method declaration has a container of arguments, and every argument itself is separated by commas. There is a setting in IntelliJ to put a space before this comma. There is a setting in IntelliJ to put a space before every argument. And there is a setting in IntelliJ to set a space before the container. So when we would be visiting a method declaration, we're basically visiting the J container, and the space of that J container has a location. It would be the method declaration parameters, and before the parenthesis we have a space again, a location space. When we're visiting the method declaration parameters location, we know exactly, okay, now we are before the parenthesis. And every element in this container is a JWrite padded element, where the right side of the parameter is actually the space before the comma. So everything comes down to a class or an enumeration inside space called location, where we can decide whether or not to put a space. If we then look at the code in the spaces visitor, we now do have one big switch case. Am I in a catch prefix? Am I currently looking at an if prefix? Am I currently looking at a try finally? I can immediately map it to, this is the IntelliJ setting. This is the IntelliJ style that we adopted throughout the Open Rewrite framework to make the decision. If the value is true, well, we take a space. If the value is false, we don't take a space. So once I made that connection in my head, I was able to reduce all the visitors we were doing to just one logic that visits the location.
Yeah, it's great to have that simplified. As that formatting code was challenging. There were, before you into, there were several people who had looked in there and been like, I'm just going to pretend I didn't see that, and packaged it back up and put it out of their minds, and was like, someone else will figure out how to implement these formatting options.
It's like a here be dragons kind of thing, like at the top of the file. And,
So yeah, we've been talking a lot about spaces. because that was actually the easiest one for me.
Ah.
Now when you cannot decide whether something needs a space, you need to move it maybe to the next line, and then it's a whole different story. Luckily, the code already was structured well enough for me to understand, like, if it's a whole different story, it's also a whole different visitor. We cannot determine the entire style in a single visitor, or in a single, we can do it in a single recipe, the AutoFormat recipe, but one visitor should do one thing and should do one thing very good. We don't want to be merging the responsibility of checking this. IntelliJ also has a different settings panel for spaces and a different settings panel for wrapping and braces. My first recipes that were touching formatting were doing everything at once. So if I don't need my methods to be underneath each other, I need them to be all after each other. So a method chain. Do I want to wrap them? Do I not want to wrap them? Those are decisions that you don't want to be merging with already a big switch case that determines whether there's a space or not.
Right.
So luckily the classes already existed, and I was able to just throw the knowledge I had about locations and apply the same concepts to the wrapping and braces visitor. Deciding different things, but based on the same locations.
Right. Yeah. That's challenging. There's a blog post from before Moderne existed, from over a decade ago, called "The Hardest Program I've Ever Written," and I'll just go ahead and put a link in the comments so I'm going to mention it. And it is about one of the authors of the Dart programming language described the autoformatter for Dart as the hardest program he'd ever written. And I just wonder, Jente, if you've ever seen that, and if so, do you relate?
I can definitely relate. There were times that I was thinking, like, maybe I should just abandon this entire idea of
just close the box up, leave it for someone else.
I did never see this wrapping and braces visitor. I only saw the spaces one because that one works now. But then
formatting is a bit like I don't know, a bit like plumbing or some essential service. If it works right, no one gives you any credit or even notices at all. And if it does the wrong thing, people get real mad real fast. So you've taken on what could sometimes be a thankless task. So we're happy to have you on to thank you for wading into it, and for helping everyone who uses recipes to have a slightly prettier output or more configurable output.
I have to say I loved doing. If you're merging that code, you really have the feeling like, okay, like you mentioned, not a lot of people will see it, but it will run in a lot of recipes.
People will see the results, whether or not they know that.
Yeah, exactly.
And the whole point is that they shouldn't have to be aware of it. They shouldn't see it, and
Which is why that as soon as this episode goes live, we're gonna delete the VOD and pretend it never happened to keep the secret forever. So if you're here now, watching it, appreciate it while you can. That's not true. We're not going to delete the VOD. Well, good stuff, Jente. Do you have anything else to show us? And do we want to merge that PR you were working on live? Because there was that. There's 54 commits in this PR now. This is gone through a couple rounds of revision. First opened it in December, and now we've made it almost to February. But it's looking good. I think we should just merge it.
Yeah. You wanna do the honors?
I want to do the honors.
Yeah, go for it, Jente. Go put up the PR and merge it. Yeah, sure. Formally approved. I think someone approved.
Link is in the comments, I think.
It's 6429 if that helps.
6420. Let me open it up over here and pull it in. So this one will add the support for wrapping and braces. I think just showing the style class will give people an idea of all the things we've been adding. The wrapping and braces style. I think the increment of wrapping and braces decision is big. There are a few that are still not implemented, but at least we have a property for all the IntelliJ settings now. And
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. So yeah, if your style differed substantially from the IntelliJ default and you were annoyed that Open Rewrite was not following your style, now thanks to Jente, those options shall exist, at least come the next release of Open Rewrite, which will probably be 2 weeks from now, if I had to guess.
Our official schedule is every 2 weeks unless I'm traveling. So it's
yeah. And Tim will be traveling next week, so I've got to come up with an excellent topic for us to enjoy on this year program. I don't know what it is yet, but it'll be good. So look forward to it.
Maybe we can always talk about the day after the merge overview.
The day after the merge. It would be fun to have some people on and maybe talk about the commit you most regret, right? The merge you regret making that caused the most problems, where you're like, man, if I'd known what a pain that was, I never would have done it. For me, it was trying to bump the version of check style in a large mono repo. That was before Open Rewrite, so it was harder to fix the thousands of new violations that popped up then. But anyway, gotta save something for next week.
Okay,
yeah, let's do it.
Let's go. I don't have like a soundboard with like a drum roll or anything.
We need
really
we gotta get a soundboard.
Oh.
Jada, we need a soundboard. I want I don't know, like a rocket blasting off noise, maybe a 10, 9, 8 kind of countdown would be good. Some cheering, chorus of angels. All of these would be good things for the soundboard. We'd use those sounds a lot, I think. But in the absence of that, I think let's do 3, 2, 1, merge. Woo!
It's out.
And then we'll just have to go through, and you said you'd already made some pull requests to downstream projects to update their styles, which is very responsible of you. So just have to go through and merge those too. But we could do that off the air. This might be enough heart pounding merging action for our audience now. If we could go and merge those follow up PRs, we might get someone might faint.
Sign up and take a week off.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be on for the next 2 weeks. So if anything happens,
I mean, I'll be off, so you have some extra things to keep an eye on, and this should add to the fun.
But wait, I'm going to be here this whole time, so if there's problems with this, oh no. Well, that's fine. All right, good stuff. Anything else you wanted to tell us about formatting, or anything else you've been doing, Jente?
No, I've been doing other things, renovating my house at the same time.
Nice.
Other than that,
What are you renovating your house for? Are you adding on a new deck or a new room, replacing some flooring?
It's a full renovation. We just bought an old farmhouse, and it's totally needs to be. Basically, the walls are staying, and everything else needs to go. So,
are you a pretty handy guy? Do you know your way around various power tools? Are you a carpenter as well?
I can demolish stuff very well.
All right.
We'll have to see about the rebuilding stuff.
That's bold. You're like, you can create, you can destroy. You're not sure about the creation, but you're willing to just destroy everything first and figure it out as you go.
Yes. Well,
preferably.
we will put a new roof on it, but that's not something that I will do myself.
Probably wise. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us this week, Jente. And thank you for making sure that our code formatting options. Hey, soundboard. Perfect. Thank you. uh, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much for coming. And until next week, have a good one, everyone.
Yeah,
See you all.
thanks.
Yeah.
Go Remix
See
Summit.
you all.
See
Bye.
you.
Cheers.
Bye.